100% LCFC. Hopefully you can hear me. My name's Phil. This is 100% LCFC. Hopefully you should be able to watch us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope. Been having a few technical issues, just trying to go live. A few people watching already. Nathan, hi. Dipak, Jason Clare, Paul Scott, Scotton, how are you? All a bit flat, isn't it? Tonight? What is it? 6:30? What did you think to the match, Jason? What did you think, Dan? Let us know your views. Bit deflated, aren't we, tonight? I think literally 7 days ago, Anthony Lowe says rubbish. Yeah, you could be right, Anthony, couldn't you? 7 days ago, we went into the Newcastle match. High hopes, full of life, when we were down at the Blues Bar, having a couple of beers, toasting the chairman's 60th birthday. We were expecting to go on and probably have a great game against Newcastle and beat them. That was flat, wasn't it? Today, it was probably over last week, wasn't it, if we're honest? What do you think to that? Denise says, Goodfellow says, hi Denise, thanks for watching, says, don't think European football matters. Concentrate on building a great team for next season. What do you think to that? Denise, you're absolutely entitled to your opinion. I know a lot of people will probably agree with Denise, because I've had people come to me and say, Phil, why are you so bothered about Europe next year? Because with the World Cup season and with the World Cup's going to sort of overrun, doesn't it? So it eats into pre-season. I believe I'm right in saying if whoever gets into seventh, if that becomes a European spot, which there's a high chance it will be, the early rounds of that sort of start in middle to late June. So a lot of the players who would be in the World Cup potentially for Leicester would struggle to have had much of a break to be in Europe. But Denise, if I'm honest with you, I just feel like we won the Premier League, which none of us expected, but we did it. I don't know why we have to apologise for the fact that we did it. And I don't know why we have to apologise for the fact that because we did it, well, Leicester can just slip. And not slip back, because let's face it, 8th or 9th or 10th in the Premier League, most seasons we'd be more than happy with that. But it just feels like we've not built on what we did in that Premier League winning season. So that's why I'm gutted that we've not made Europe, or we're not going to, because let's be honest, we're not now, are we? I know there's still technically points to, but before the Newcastle game, we were 3 points behind Burnley. They go away to Watford and win. We let a team lower than us come and beat us. Then we have more than a 6-pointer today, wasn't it? That was it, really. And we go to Burnley, and within 9 minutes, we're 2 goals down. Yeah, and everybody said after the first 10 minutes it was better, and Vardy pulls a goal back, but you're 2-0 down away from home in 10 minutes. Few comments. Mark Wright says, we're out, so who cares? Fair enough, Mark. Not everybody cares. A lot of people will just say 8th, 9th, 10th in the league is good, and it is. It is good. But my frustration is, not only have we missed out on Europe, if you look back at the fixtures, it's so easy to see how we could not only have been 7th, we could have been 6th. We could have been top 6 club this season with just a bit more consistency and a bit more passion and a bit more, think of the last four odd games at home alone, let alone other ones in the season. Swansea battling to stay up, and we draw against them. Stoke are rubbish. Newcastle last week. Newcastle, a lot of people have been saying this season, well done Newcastle for managing to stay up with effectively a championship side. We've effectively got a Premier League winning side, and yet, we've let them come to us because Newcastle wanted it more. What did you think about today's match? Mark Wright saying could be worse. We could be West Brom. Yes, be careful what you wish for. Absolutely could be worse. Nathan is saying, hi Nathan, thanks for watching as ever. Why the hell play Wes Morgan, who's clearly not good enough, over Dragovic? It's bad management. I'm gonna suggest. Well, I'm not even going to suggest it. I'm going to say it feels like the same old players pick the same old players, or who picks them, I don't know. Jason Mill says, do not let 8th place fool you into that we are playing well enough to warrant that position. We are most certainly not. No, the recent form, apart from, we've had 2 away wins at Brighton and that. So it's not brilliant form, is it? Dan Shearer, hi Dan, thanks for watching, says the players don't look up for it. From the first whistle, week out, week in, week out. And again, I come back to, in particular, the Newcastle match last week. Newcastle wanted to win that match from the first minute to the 95th minute. You could see it all the way through. You can't put your finger on it, can you? But when you're watching it from the stands, you can see their players. They're just putting in that little bit more effort. And they weren't better than us last week, Newcastle. But what they were better at is wanting to win. They wanted to win it. Mark Wright saying, nice long summer, cheering on Vardy in the three-line shirt. Yes, I'm sure Jamie Vardy will go to Russia. Anthony says, hi Anthony, thanks for watching. Says the players are clearly good enough. If asked the question, would Shakes have done better, bearing in mind the team we played in the first five games. I heard the cops sing Shakey's Blue Army, not heard a squeak for Pule. It's interesting, isn't it? You're quite right. Although I could say, yeah, I was going to say, do you remember many songs for Nigel Pearson? There was a few. I haven't heard one song for Claude Pule. I'm not being funny. I don't even think I've heard the fans particularly sing his name ever. Am I wrong? Have I missed it? Has there been chants of Claude Pule, anything this or that? I'm not sure. Jason Mills says, shall I put up the stats? Jason, yes, please. Put up some stats. Let us know what you think. Richard Court says, face is fit regardless. I think, Richard, you might be sort of talking about Richard Court. Sorry, be talking about Wes Morgan there. Hi, Carl. Carl Paul's watching. Thanks, Carl. If you're watching, if you could like and share this video, that would be absolutely brilliant. We should be on YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, and of course, Facebook Live. Lots of people watching on all the different channels, which is great. Trying to read as many comments out as possible. David Hulbert says 5 consecutive clean sheets with Dragovic playing, more returns when fit, gone downhill fast. The fans are saying it, aren't they, David? We were saying it last week. We're saying it this week. If you're Dragovic, what do you have to? Well, he's not going to join us now, is he? Let's be honest. He's just sat on the bench while we've had this dismal, pretty much patch since he was dropped after 5 clean sheets. If you're a defender, your job is to keep clean sheets. Same for a keeper, you know. And he's watched that. Both goals last week, in particular against Newcastle, were total balls up, weren't they? The first goal, the central defence all shifted across to one side and went, there you go, put it in the other corner to him. And the second goal was just calamity. That would have been a chance. I don't think he dare change him, dare he? Wes Morgan's club captain. I don't think he dare say, Wes, you drop, mate. But then that brings us on to a Claude Puel debate, if you want. If he can't or won't drop Wes Morgan if he needs to and put Dragovic back in, then we've got issues, haven't we? But again, was this what was happening under Ranieri last season? Who's picking the team? Player power, maybe. Eileen, hi Eileen, thank you for watching. Let's read your comment out. Time to come home, Nigel. He wouldn't let the players get away with this. That's not the first call I've seen, Eileen, for Nigel Pearson to come back. What do you think? Who would you take? Who would you rather have in charge? Nigel or Claude Puel? There we go. We've set out a question for anybody who's watching today. Would you rather have Nigel or would you rather have Claude? I think if you'd have said that maybe 12 months ago, you'd have almost laughed. A lot of people would, although we did talk about it. But Nigel's over at OH, whatever, Leverson, our little sister club or whatever in Belgium. So obviously he's friends again with the owners. That's been resolved. So have they put him there as like a stepping stone or not? What do you think? They clearly seem to get on with Nigel, and they had that falling out over all the stuff we know. But is that an option? Big debate, and I think fans want to have that now. Not necessarily about Nigel Pearson, but about Claude Puel. Soren Philipson, Blue Army Sweden. How are you, Soren? Met up with Soren last week before the match. Lovely bunch, come all the way over from Sweden. I can't pronounce the town they've come from, but he says it takes him about 8 hours to get to the games. Felt really sorry for him because it takes me about 25 minutes to get from where I live to the match, and he had to do an eight-hour trip to get to watch that lackluster defeat last week. Anyway, I'm sure you enjoyed it, Soren. We did a little video. We shared it yesterday. I know quite a lot of you have watched it, but hi, what did you think, Soren, to today's match? Hopefully you got to watch it. Richard Court says, boring tactics, there's no team spirit. Dan Shearer says, I don't know about fearless, it's like we fear everyone. David Hulbert again says, 5 consecutive clean sheets with Dragovic, playing Morgan returns, gone downhill fast. Yeah. Jason saying, here's the stats from Jason. Thanks, Jason. It's now 4 wins from 15 and a points return of 14 from a possible 48. That is relegation form, end of, says Jason. I think it's lucky we had that nice little run. Somebody earlier said about Shaky staying on. I'll be honest, I think I said it at the time. I never thought Shaky was the right appointment. He was clear. It was clearly a mistake in the fact that he was a brilliant coach. Somebody told me the other day, by the way, and I didn't know this, but somebody told me the other day that Claudio Ranieri apparently was only really around the club on average 2 days a week during the Premier League winning season. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Somebody said it to me that he used to go back to Italy for most of the week and he was around for 2 days. Used to manage all the press, as we know, fantastically, and do all the media and really most of the work. I think most of us knew most of the work with the lads was Craig Shakespeare. Again, you move Shaky on and suddenly it sort of never works. So somebody said earlier, would we have done any better with Shakespeare in charge? My honesty is, I I fear not. We'll never know, will we? I fear not, because we had a tough start again, but we did look in a bit of a mess. Mark Willits joined. Hi, Mark. Hope you're well. What did you think to the match today? Simon Richards, thank you for watching. How are you? Joanna Astley's watching. Richard Ray says, where is Huth? I think Huth's gone, hasn't he? We've not seen him. Another injury. Neil Bennett says, like I've said before many times, only Vardy seems to be scoring. Steve Mardy says, Morgan always made mistakes except when we had Huth. He had Huth and he had Kante in front of him, didn't he? Anthony Lowe says, do we have to pay him a load of cash after 6 games? Not sure what you're on about there, Anthony. I think maybe referring to Dragovic. David Hulbert says, Brendan Rodgers. It's a shout, isn't it? It's a shout. He's at Celtic and doing rather well there in a one-team league, but he is doing rather well. Tara is saying Martin O'Neill. I think most managers like Martin say never do it again. Soren says Nigel all day long. Jason Clare says Nigel for me. Graham is saying Nigel to come back. Crikey. A lot of Nigel's shouts there. David Hulbert, though, says neither. Anthony Lowe says, let's have Nigel back over Puel. Crikey. Goodness me, a lot of support coming through for Nigel Pearson. Dan Shearer says, there's nothing keeping Dragovic here. I feel sorry for him. Grow some balls, Puel, and pick players who deserve a chance rather have Harry Redknapp. Ha ha, he says, Dan. I think Dan might have a bit of tongue in cheek there. Richard Ray saying, bring back Nigel. These are your views, not my views. Do you know what? I'm going to sit on the fence about the manager at the moment. I'm going to keep trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. But it is boring and it's not great and there's not much passion. And we didn't want to win. Or did we? I mean, that's Europe gone, isn't it? You know, it feels like this season is like quarterfinals against Man City, and so don't get me started on that game because I'm beyond. I think everybody knows that I'm really frustrated about that one. The Chelsea one as well. We had that, didn't we? At 1-1 in the 60th, 70th minute, we should have gone on and win that, and then we get to extra time and we lost that. So we've had a season where 2 quarterfinals could easily have been a semi or a final. Again, if we'd have been in the semi-finals of the FA Cup next few, at Wembley, perhaps we'd have all been a bit cheerier. Richard Court says, bring Pearson back, give him some money. It was Pearson's team who won the league. I think you're not far wrong. It pretty much was Pearson's team who won the league. By the way, we talked earlier, didn't we? We had a quick impromptu fan chat this morning where we were saying, Andy King. I'm not saying he would have. I don't think Silva had a great game today. Chowdhury was probably one of the better players. We did a man of the match poll at the end of the game. I'm not sure really why we ran that, but we do it out of tradition. But I don't even really want to think who was a man of the match in today's game again. I was trying to explain it to my son this morning. I was saying, if you if you owned something, I don't know, if you lent your mate your headphones or something because his had broken or something, he said, "Oh, I've got a spare pair of headphones, mate. I'm not using them. They're over there. I don't need them. You can borrow them. You borrow my headphones." But you'd sort of say, if I break my headphones and I need these back, you'll give me them back, won't you? You'll give me a recall on them. So with Andy King, either we've not got a recall on him, or we've sat there today and gone, "Oh well, we're a bit skin and bones with the midfield, but we don't need Andy King back, who plays international football for Wales and is playing for another Premier League team, because we don't need him." I don't know. I'm not saying he would have done anything much. Mark Wright, you must be having a laugh, saying Craig Levein. Just waiting now. You're obviously referring to new manager. Yeah, I hear Mark McGee's could be interested as well. And Peter Taylor. We could have Peter Taylor, you see. Always remember. Or David Pleat. For those people laugh and say Peter Taylor is like awful manager. Not a lot of you don't remember the Pleat out days where sitting in 7 or 8 thousand fans at Filbert Street clapping very slowly for Pleat out, Pleat out, Pleat out. So that makes me think maybe eighth in the Premier League. We shouldn't all be too grumbling. Richard Benno, hi Richard, says shocking. He's probably talking about my nonsense I'm talking. George Berette says Puel out. David again, Hulbert says Rudkin needs to go as well. He's in charge of transfers. I'm not sure Rudkin is in charge of the transfers. I'm not sure if it's Rudkin or who, but whoever it is, plan B, well done. Don't need a plan B. Midfield, loan that out. Don't recall it back when we run out. I don't know. There's a few strange ones, isn't there? Guy Cooper saying Claudio, get Claudio back. I wouldn't think Claudio would come back and touch us with a barge pole, if I'm honest, Guy. Bless him. Fantastic manager. Malcolm Chris Chisholm. Malcolm Chisholm says Sean Dyche for me. Why on earth would Sean Dyche leave Burnley to come to Leicester, Malcolm? I'm not saying he wouldn't. I'm not saying he would. But you can answer that, Malcolm, not me. My question is, why would Sean Dyche leave Burnley? George Beretta says Puel has a language barrier. Daz is watching. Daz Headley, how are you? Neil Bennett says we need a keeper to put pressure on Casper. Well, we bought a £3 million keeper, didn't we? Jakupovic. And we bought Ben Hamer a couple of seasons ago. I'm not sure why we bought Jakupovic. He had a good season for Hull last year. Again, another player who must be a little bit miffed. But I'm a big Casper fan generally. Dan Shearer saying Shakespeare, great coach, was not right as a manager or new as a manager. Eddie Bland says, like any other manager's job, if you can't get the best out of your staff or motivational skills are lacking and not getting the best out of them, then you shouldn't manage. Does anybody know, by the way, why Claude Puel did leave Southampton by mutual agreement last season? Because it seems strange that after getting them 8th into a final of a cup that he did. Perhaps we're feeling it now. Steve Mardy says Nigel Pearson, not again. Fair enough. Whew, loads and loads of comments. This is brilliant. Thank you, everybody who's watching. I think everybody's a little bit, if you're a bit like me, you're a bit flat, a little bit disappointed, a little bit gutted. If you can like and share the video, give us a thumbs up, give us a like. If you're watching over on Periscope, on Twitter, retweet it. If you're on YouTube, put in the comments below. I'll keep trying to read them out. Anthony Ramster saying, don't think Puel is getting the best out of the players. He certainly isn't. Graham Ball says, I think instead of clappers, we should have pillows at home games and lots of zzz sleeping noises. Soren is making me laugh. Ollie, he says, get Ollie back. He means Ollie Holloway, my namesake. Uncle Ian. Quite like Ian Holloway as a character, but he's probably got to earn the title of the worst ever Leicester City manager only by default that he took us down to League One. Eddie Bland says, we need to go big. He's got a big one here from Eddie, so bear with me. We need to go big now. The infrastructure is there. The owners have money and ambition. Take note, new training facilities, a lot of money. New ground extension, a lot of money. I can't see Puel attracting any top-class players. But that's the question, isn't it? You've got to give Puel the summer, haven't you? Haven't you got to give Puel one transfer window at least to see if he can attract anybody in? But he's saying, I can't see Puel attracting any top class players. Let's Sir, get Sir Alex out of retirement. The I can't even read the rest. Once you've said let's get Sir Alex out, sorry Eddie, you've lost me there because that's never Alex Ferguson is never going to come to Leicester City. Deary me. So I've heard somebody say get Conte in when he's sacked by Chelsea. Again, I don't think so. Roberto Mancini, I don't even know where Roberto Mancini is now. I still say every time the manager changes, I think he would fit for Leicester City. I think Roberto Mancini would be a great fit for Leicester. I know he only played 5 games for us, but there's a little connection there which is nice. He's a quality player. He did great stuff at Man City. Was unlucky there. He's been doing pretty reasonably. He's at some Italian side, I think, isn't he, Mancini? But I can't. I don't know how. I've not been keeping an eye on what he's doing. But apart from the fact that he's got great hair and looks great on the sideline with that scarf tucked in, if you think Roberto Mancini would be a great fit, give us a few likes. Um, if you think no, he'd be terrible, put in the comments. But that's the sort of name where people are saying, could he attract international players in? I think Roberto Mancini would be perfect for doing that. People, other names like that, people say, isn't it? Gus Hiddink, you know, few likes, let's see these things. Few likes coming in there, few funny faces coming in. No, mostly likes for Roberto Mancini on the different channels, so that's good. Jason Mills saying, I think it's absolutely shocking that we, as a former Premier League winners, are so thin as a squad. We have to delve into relying on academy players to make up the numbers. Well, Jason, the answer to that is we're not that thin. I'm afraid we've either bought players and loaned them out, or we've loaned out existing players. Again, whoever's stato on there can perhaps list all the players that we've loaned out, but we know off the top of my head, Ulloa, Slimani, Musa, by the way, not sure that I rate Musa, but well, Slimani's not really doing much at Newcastle, is he? Ulloa's on the fringes at Brighton, but they're still plan Bs. Musa is playing or was playing for CSK Moscow in a Europa League quarter final against Arsenal. Not scored many goals there, but hey, you know, 16 million and we've just loaned him back out to the same team again. Who else is there? Mendy, I think, is it Nantes with Ranieri? Um, Andy King over at Swansea. Kaputska, don't get me going on Kaputska. Do we still own him? Do we own Kaputska? You know, I've got a bit of a soft spot because I just didn't see anything of him. So I think we still own Kaputska. But I don't know where he is. I think Tim Kaputska. I'm really losing the plot. Please, if somebody can put in the comments where Kaputska is, and obviously Kramaric, we did sell, didn't we? We sold Kramaric, but the comment there was, we're a bit wafer thin. We're not really. We've loaned out 5 or 6 players in January to try and keep them happy. Again, I was talking about the headphones and that. Why don't you have a recall on some of these players? Um, Malcolm Chisholm saying, coming back to the Sean Dyche thing he said earlier, he says, I'm not saying Sean Dyche would leave Burnley, but surely worth a try. I think we did try before. I think to be fair, Everton tried for him and he didn't want to move. So I think fair play to him. He's stuck with there. And that's the same for anybody who says Eddie Howe from Bournemouth. Again, I can't think they'd want to go. Andres Prieto, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong there, saying, let's keep a manager for more than one season. We'll never grow as a team if we keep sacking them. You've got a point now. Anthony Lowe says Arsene Wenger for City wants those ungrateful Londoners sack him. It's not a bad shout. I'd take Arsene Wenger. I'd gladly take Arsene Wenger. I think he's completely losing the plot at Arsenal. But again, uh, would he attract players? Yes. Does he know football inside out? Yes. Would he come to Leicester? Probably not, but possibly. I don't know. Would you want him? You'd have to say it'd be probably the best ever, one of the best ever managers to manage at Leicester. I've got to be careful how you say that. Steve Mardy says, started the season moaning about mediocre players were brought in, now moaning about those who were sent out. Yes, I agree. You're right. I am. We're saying a lot of people's. I agree. You're quite right, Steve, because I certainly have moaned about Slimani not being good enough. I'd have kept Ujawa. Andy King, I wouldn't have got rid of him. A good utility player. Why get rid? You don't need to. Anthony Lowe saying Rafa Benitez, he's not going to come. Newcastle are probably going to have a strong season tomorrow. Um, David Hulbert says Manuel Pellegrini. Fair shout. Daniel Fox saying Rafa in. No, he's not going to come. And Drinkwater too. Would you take? Few people I've seen saying that. Would you take Danny Drinkwater back? Reportedly wants to leave Chelsea because guess what? He doesn't get into the team. 17 million. They want somebody 17, 18 million for him. We'd have lent him to Chelsea for a season and made 18 million and get him back. I would have Danny Drinkwater back in a flash. I don't have a problem with the guy. He won the Premier League with him, so for me, yes, I would buy Danny Drinkwater back. And to be fair, I would argue that some of the stuff we've been watching recently is because we haven't got a Danny Drinkwater pulsing those loans through. Chris Hallam, thank you, Chris. You're a legend with the stats. Kaputska is at Freiburg on loan. I don't know how he's doing. I think the Euro Championships in Poland, though, he was one of the most highly rated youngsters there. Stuart Childs is already saying Wenger out. Anthony Doe says, point to prove us, Wenger. Yeah? Why am I saying Wenger? It's because I'm reading the comments. Arsene Wenger. Simon Jones is saying Martin O'Neill. Chris is saying going forward we are fine, but the defence needs to be ripped to pieces. Simpson and Morgan need replacing, and still not sure with Chilwell. Andres says, let's get Wenger in. I'm serious. I totally believe you are, Andres. And to be fair, I would definitely be interested in having Arsene Wenger at Leicester City. I often think Claude Puel sounds a bit like Wenger, if I'm honest. I was nearly going to say a clueless Arsene Wenger, but I think Arsene Wenger sounds clueless half the time. Anyway, this is 100% LCFC. My name is Phil. Join Jamie tomorrow night at 6:30 European GMT, 7:30 European time for his aftermath show. You can get everything off your chest to Jamie from the Fox's Arms. Join me and hopefully Tom and Chris from Leicester Till I Die on Monday at 8:30 on Fanzone Live. Lots to talk about. We've got Southampton to preview next Thursday. And thanks to ADT Taxes, thanks to Peter's Pizzas, the Blues Bar, all the people who are sponsoring us. We're going to bring you more and more content next season. Thank you, everybody who's been watching. Keep it 100%. Keep the faith. I think the season's over. Maybe it's not. You never know with Leicester. Never say never. Beat Southampton. Go on a magnificent run. Keep dreaming. See you soon.